If you're looking to create your very own tall tales and have the greatest adventures out on the seas, finding good enough servers isn't that easy to come by. But as soon as we joined here, we knew that this was going to be one hell of a ride from the very second we made contact with the first ship. So before we get into this story, hit the like button, subscribe and get ready for this tale. Going straight into the action, I sailed my ship over to an active Fort of Fortune, where a ship bearing the Reaper's mark waited, and another Reaper was heading their way. The closer I sailed, the closer the Reaper got, and soon enough, both ships on the map appeared to be parked by each other. Whether they were alliancing up, I did not know, but it would soon become apparent that these Reapers were not sharing, as the Reaper's mark had sunk, meaning I was going to have a fight on my hands. As I sailed on in, spying the ship, I quickly noticed a pirate heading towards me with a keg, and shooting it blew away both him and my ship, so I was already having to get down and repair, hoping that they weren't able to capitalize. As I finished up, my good first mate Invictus joined me, ready to help me tackle this fort, as they were now behind us firing cannons as we tried to get better angles. I lunged off onto the island in the hopes of finding a keg or attempting to fire at them using the cannons on land, which is exactly what I did, blasting a barrage at them as my crewmate took down their mast. But whilst I continued to apply pressure on them, one came onto the island to fight me off, but my crewmate was yelling at me, telling me they had already sank. But as I looked up, a brigantine was now barreling towards us, so I took on the one on land, sending him to the ferry before getting back onto the fort cannons, instantly one-balling one of them. However, soon enough, one was on land with me, striking me down and getting me back on board my ship. I headed back on over to the fort, and now we continued to trade trips to the ferryman until as I got back on board one final time, they were in front of us, so I took to the cannons, firing at them and hoping to take them down quickly, which after a few hits, I swam over, taking on two of them, anchoring them down, and whilst taking on the third, until finally meeting my end as they all returned together. As I arrived back, I noticed a keg in the water, and starting up some fun, I grabbed onto it, hoping to board them, but as they sailed over me, I blew up their lower decks, which also blew me up in the process. Knowing they were in a sticky spot now, we kept the pressure on as I once again grabbed another keg from the island, and this time, I boarded them with it, killing one whilst fighting off the others, setting them ablaze, finishing off another in the water before I too was taken down again. As they were now looking hurt, as I got back, me and my crewmate jumped on board together, taking down the three, and just like that, they scuttled their own ship, finishing them off and hoping to take on the fort. But of course, it was not that simple. We were now down to the last wave. The Ashen Lord, Captain Grim, was upon us, and wanting it over and done with as quickly as possible, I dug up a stronghold keg, but Grim was smart, blowing both me and it up in the process. However, as I returned to the ship, another brig was sailing in, a different one than before, and from that, I climbed into one of the fort's towers, taking one out on board again until I headed on over, climbing on deck, taking out another two, and as we waited, one returned hoping to save their fate, but it was too late. As I finished him off, their ship sank, and I knew that we were so close now, but as Captain Grim remained strong, I spied yet another sloop, hoping to get in on the fight, but after all we had been through, this treasure was ours, and ours alone. Why shouldn't we keep it? It's mine. My precious. That's terrible. Sorry, I don't know what happened there. However, yet again, they sailed in, hoping to take us on, but we were more than warmed up, and I got to work setting them on fire as cannons were crashing against the ships. However, it turns out We had picked up an anchor ball along the way, and this was going to come in handy very soon. But for now, it was time to try and board, as I was able to get on, taking one of them out and anchoring them. And as I took out the next, I spotted a trident, and feeling a little too cocky, I tried to take them out using it, giving me a ticket straight back to the ferry. We needed to finish them off soon before any other ships sailed our way, so once I was back, I headed back over to the fort, climbing into one of the towers and loading up the anchor ball, firing it and holding them in place as I continued the assault, taking out one of them in the process. This had to be it now. However, Captain Grim was not happy with our performance, as he was covering my vision with a thick smog, but as long as I didn't move the cannon, my shots were still hitting their mark, and as their mast was now down, Invictus rolled in, now firing on two fronts as I swam on over, wiping both out. And with some help from the Ashen Lord, these foes had too met their end, and once dealing with a late spawner, we got back to work on the fort. Soon after, the Ashen Lord was down, the key taken and the treasure was on board, which usually would mean the end of a journey, right? But how wrong we were, as once we had sold, we were not expecting the chaos that was to come all from this one server. But you will have to wait until next time to see how that tale ends. So don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss it, and like this video if you enjoy these tales. And until next time, arrgh!